and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Game night here on Monday on 97.3 ESPN, 97.3 ESPN Mobile app, and live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter for you all to consume and watch the show as well. Text board is open also at 609-403-0973. Sixers basketball tonight coming up. A little breaking news popped off just about 30 minutes ago. Doc Rivers confirmed that Joel Embiid will not play tonight. So very important news there. Joel Embiid, and you kind of felt it coming, right? If you've been watching this team, been following this team closely for the last 2-3 weeks, you kind of felt that Joel Embiid off there was kind of in the making. It was kind of in the works. So this will be the game to kick off. It'll be tonight versus Detroit. And the Sixers win the game that Joel Embiid is not playing. This year, the Sixers are 0-3 so far when Joel Embiid does not play in the game. So Joel Embiid is more than just an MVP candidate who puts up gaudy stats. He literally is the most important and valuable player for the 76ers team. I mean, just think about how crazy that is. That's how bad the situation is. That you can't win a game without it. Now, that might change tonight. And we'll talk about that with coming up with Kevin MCormick, our Sixers beat writer for 97.3 ESPN.com. He'll join me coming up at 6:20 to get more into that. Of course, we got to talk about the NFL championship games yesterday as well. And don't forget, a little bit later in the hour, I will give you my DraftKings Sportsbook picks of the night. Going a little basketball again tonight. See how we do with our picks for the night, as always. But I got to start with the game we saw yesterday because, contrary to popular opinion, Tom Brady didn't win the game yesterday. I know the win may be in his win column as a quarterback, but Tom Brady didn't win the game yesterday. And I'm bringing this up because this is something very specific to the Eagles as we go through this offseason. Tom Brady threw 3 interceptions yesterday. Now, Aaron Rodgers threw 1. Brady threw 3. Whose team won? Brady. Why? Because we talked about this over the weekend on Friday and Saturday. The team whose defense showed up on Sunday was the team that won the game. What did the Bucs defense do? 5 sacks. 5 tackles for loss on run plays. 4 deflected passes. And don't forget, on top of those 5 sacks, they also hit Aaron Rodgers another 5 times. So they were getting to the quarterback. They were defending the pass. They were stopping the run. Because teams win championships, not individuals. We're so obsessed with the individual stat line. So as we look ahead to the Super Bowl, which we have 2 weeks to do that, and it's going to be a phenomenal one, Brady versus Mahomes. I mean, could you want anything more? I know a lot of us thought before the season that could be a very, very likely possibility. But there's a part of you that wondered, how realistic is it? And now you're going to get it. Tampa in their own home stadium. The Chiefs are going to be going into hostile territory. Reed versus Arians. Todd Bowles. Steve Spagnuolo. Think about how many coaching trees are involved all over the place in this game. It's going to be wild. I'm so looking forward to it. But I also know that there's an Eagles element to this. And that Eagles element is there's a lot of former Eagles involved in this game. Todd Bowles used to coach with the Eagles. Andy Reid, of course. Steve Spagnuolo used to coach with the Eagles. LaShawn McCoy is sitting on the Bucs bench. He might get another Super Bowl by doing nothing yet, which is good for him. I mean, I'm not holding against the guy, that's for sure. But still, it is fun. It's funny to watch how these things go down. And as we do watch them go down, I am looking at how very intricate these teams got here because teams win championships. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, in the current sense, not the past sense, with Nick Sirianni, this team has to build a team to win. Because even if Carson Wentz comes back and he throws 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, you can still go 8-8. Or Carson Wentz can come back and throw 20 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, and you go 10-6. The quarterback's performance is only a part of the picture. And for as many games Carson Wentz lost for this team, which I argue with 3 to 4, the rest of the team has to stack up. And when I look at this coaching staff, I am trying to stay open-minded. I am trying to be a person who is not being reactionary, who is not being emotionally led. I'm trying to be someone who doesn't let the moment get the best of me. But daggone it, when I look at the fact that you hired Shane Steichen to be your offensive coordinator, I'm just not loving it. And here's why. I have been hoping for a long time now. I have been hoping all year long that whatever happened at the Eagles season, they would make some changes that I could vibe with. All year long, I was hoping that whatever happens this season, the Eagles can make some changes that I can get on board with. I didn't love them firing Doug Peterson, but I understood it. I didn't love them hiring Nick Sirianni, but it made a lot of sense to me, honestly. And I was totally on board with it. But when Sirianni goes out there and brings in Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon, I do have questions. Questions that I don't know if I have all the answers to yet, but I definitely have questions. But I'm also reminded of what I saw yesterday. If the Eagles can build a team that can win, they can do it. I know that they're quote-unquote in salary cap hell. Whatever that fully means, nobody really knows. Because at the end of the day, how many teams have we thought had no cap space find a way to get cap space? We know that the Philadelphia Eagles are a team that has a lot of guys coming off of injury. So you expect to have a lot more healthy roster going into the season. You expect Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson to be back. You would expect them to have a different look on offense because of who the coaches are. You would expect them to utilize Miles Sanders and Jalen Reagor more effectively. Also, Jonathan Gannon is coming in here, so you would expect them to be a little bit different in terms of their defensive mentality, their defensive philosophy. And all those differences, all those changes could lead to something special. But as we saw yesterday, Tom Brady did not win that game for Tampa. He did not. The person who won that game for Tampa yesterday was Todd Bowles. Defenses still win championships in the NFL. Despite popular opinion to otherwise. Defenses win. You're telling me that Tom Brady deserves that win in the win column next to his name? Absolutely not. But that's how the system works. Count wins for quarterbacks even when they play Trent Dilfer, Brad Johnson, Mark Rippon. None are going to the Hall of Fame, but they all still have Super Bowl rings. You know why? Because their teams won the championship. They were a part of said team. And for the Eagles, when I look at these coaching situations, am I thrilled about the coordinator hires? No. Do I love the coordinator hires? No. But am I willing to hit the pause button and try to understand why Nick Sirianni bringing in two guys who have just as much NFL experience as he does? Yes. I am willing to take take that time to understand. And I recommend you do it as well because look at who he hired. Jonathan Gannon was one of the top defensive candidates out there. There were multiple teams who wanted him, including the Bears and the Chargers looking at him. He is an up-and-coming guy in the NFL. He's someone who the league knows about. Jeff Moses for. Jeffrey Lloyd, Eagles owner, knew who Jonathan Gannon was and was happy that Sirianni wanted to bring him here. Jonathan Gannon, the defensive backs coach for the Colts. So I get that one. I'm totally on board with that one. But Shane Steichen is a guy that I gotta be honest with you. I'm not loving it. Do I hate it? No. Because I wanted to give the guy a chance. But I was really, really hoping that they would go out and get a guy with a little bit more experience in terms of coaching in the NFL. Because we know Steichen has been around the NFL for a decade, all with the Chargers except for one sole year with the Browns. But I was hoping you might get a former head coach or maybe a former veteran coach on some other staff you can bring with them. I don't hate the moves. Steichen did a good job with Justin Herbert. He did a good job adapting on the fly with a team that didn't have a ton of expectations this year. He did a good job at running an offense. Didn't have arguably one of their best weapons in Boston for the majority of the season because of injuries. So I think he's a good candidate. I just would have liked to go in a different direction. I mentioned on Friday and Saturday. There are veteran coaches that Sirianni has worked with in the past, from Anthony Lynn, Todd Haley. Now, we don't know what those guys are. We don't know exactly if maybe those guys don't want to be offensive coordinator. Maybe those guys don't want to coach in the NFL this year. Maybe those guys don't want to be on Sirianni's staff. Maybe Sirianni wants to be the play caller, and they run all their own plays. They don't let them all their own plays, and they won't be on staff. I'm just saying it's a possibility. So with all those possibilities in mind, that's why I'm going to give this a chance. And I hope you do, because I want to see the Eagles be successful. Unlike some of you crazy people out there who want the Eagles to lose and hate Howie Roseman. I want to see the Philadelphia team be successful. I want to see the local team do well. I'm going to give Sirianni a chance to show us. Just in 1 month, not just in 1 year. I'm going to give him the same amount of time I gave Doug Peterson. If he has success like Peterson did. I want to give this guy a chance to show us why he hired Steichen and Gannon and didn't go more better. Because you can always hire the young candidate, but does the young candidate always work out? We're going to find out here in Philadelphia. You wanted new, you wanted fresh, you wanted hot shot on the market. Well, you got the hottest commodities possible and the youngest commodities possible. Because Philadelphia is going in a different direction. That's for sure. Moving forward. Josh Hennig here on GameNight on 97.3 ESPN. Push with your text a little bit later in the hour at 609-403-0973. Also here live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Say hello to Jeff watching on YouTube. What is up, Jeff? Salute to you too, sir. On YouTube. Watching us on the YouTube feed. Also watch on Facebook and Twitter. 973 ESPN, the Sports Dash with Hunter Birdie, GameNight with Josh Hennig, and more, all on the platforms. And of course, GameNight is brought to you by my friends over at weightliftinghq.com. Weightliftinghq.com has all the equipment you need to work out from the comfort of your home. Whether you're someone who is stuck at home because of work and family, or maybe you do have a gym membership, but you can't get to the gym as often as you want. Whatever the reason is, you want to work out from home, weightliftinghq.com can help you. Use the code RADIO10 for 10% off your entire order at weightliftinghq.com.
bench and squat racks, kettlebell, dumbbell, cardio assist machines, and more. Whatever you need to get into the best shape of your life for whatever your goal may be, weightliftinghq.com is here to help you. Again, the first radio 10 off your entire order. Radio 10 at checkout for weightliftinghq.com. We'll get back to the Sixers coming up next. No Joel Embiid tonight for the Pistons. What does that mean? For Kevin MCormick coming up next. You're on GameNight on 97.3 ESPN in the 93 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of City.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action.
What a save by Carter Hart.
The Flyers are in Jersey to face the Devils. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey.
Hey, coming up on Tuesday's show, we'll take a look at the all-season East on 4 with Anthony Chico, Sixers, Pistons, the week Day 11, plus it's Tuesday with Thompson. On the Sixers and Flyers, and so much more. Don't forget, watch us live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
0% up to 72 months. 2020 Chevrolet Equinoxes. Over 7,000 off original MSRP. Over 30 to choose. All Equinox models. Premiers, LS, and LT. As low as 0% up to 72 months. Save on any new Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, or Pre-owned. We are Kerbeck Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Cadillac of Atlantic City, Albany Avenue. Kerbeck of Atlantic City Model Year Closeout. Click KerbeckAtlanticCity.com. Find new roads. Call Kerbeck for details. 1-866-518-0086.
If you're struggling with a drug or alcohol addiction, now is the time to take action and get professional help. Call Recovery Centers of America at 1-888-RECOVERY today. You are worthy of recovery from your addiction, and calling RCA will be your first step in getting the help you need. Recovery Centers of America answers the phone and admits patients 24/7. And because safety is a top priority, all patients and staff are routinely tested for COVID-19. RCA's expert team of physicians and medical professionals will treat you with compassion and dignity and provide an evidence-based treatment plan that is custom-tailored to your specific needs. Recovery Centers of America at Devon and Lighthouse are local and in-network with insurance providers, so they're best-in-class inpatient and outpatient care, offered both in-person and via teletherapy, is affordable and accessible. Make this the year you conquer your addiction. Call today, 1-888-RECOVERY. That's 1-888-RECOVERY.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
Do you crave the thrill of success and all the opportunities that come with it? Are you an ambitious professional who seeks an exciting career opportunity with unlimited earning potential? Are your achievements most rewarding when they also benefit others?
If so, then you may have what it takes to join South Jersey's leading radio and online marketing sales team at Town Square Media. Discover your passion for advertising sales and earn a guaranteed salary while you learn. Leverage newfound skills in integrated marketing campaign design and help local businesses recover and grow in the coming year.
With commission gains and hands-on training, your income grows right alongside your skill set, so you'll never be making less than what you're worth.
To schedule an interview, go to townsquaremedia.com and tap on careers. Kick off a challenging but fulfilling career in advertising sales with Town Square Media Atlantic City. That's townsquaremedia.com and tap on careers. Take success into your own hands today. Town Square Media is an equal opportunity employer.
There's only one original stuffed crust, and it's only from Pizza Hut. The only place that gives you up to 3 toppings on your original stuffed crust for just $11.99. Order yours online at pizzahut.com. Ask or click for limited time offer. Extra charge for more toppings and extra cheese. Exclusions apply.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Hanging out with you here on 97.3 ESPN. 609-403-0973 is the text board. Joining us right now on the Boardwalk Kind of Hotline, we have the one and only Kevin MCormick. You can follow him on Twitter at Kevin MCC973. Sixers versus Pistons at the top of the hour right here on 97.3 ESPN. Kevin, how you doing this afternoon or evening, depending on how people want to view the day? It would help if I actually turned your microphone on, Kevin. That's my
No worries. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It was one of those deals where you got to turn one thing on for the music and one thing on for you, and I didn't hit the other button. So that's a bad job by me. So people are probably out there wondering, where's Kevin? Well, we see Kevin, but we couldn't hear Kevin. There we go. So we got you now. So how are you doing today? Let's try this again.
I'm doing good. I mean, Sixers are rolling. They're riding a little bit of a high now. Picked up some 2 good wins after Boston. They had an ugly win against the Pistons, but I mean, those are the good wins in the grand scheme of things. So hopefully they're able to pull it out again tonight.
Now, you mentioned the game tonight. Let's get into that because the news came out earlier. Joel Embiid will not play tonight. We kind of saw this coming, right? At some point, Joel Embiid was going to get one of these random days of rest, right? We all kind of assumed that this might be coming down the line.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this news to break. I actually thought he wasn't going to play the last game just due to the 2 grueling games against Boston and how he kind of laid it all out in those games. I figured second half of a back-to-back where they had to travel, I thought that was going to be the game where he was going to get up off his feet, but it looks like they opted to go for tonight. But I agree. This game was eventually going to come. Joel Embiid's been playing big minutes. He's been playing almost every day. He was due for a game off his feet.
Now, the 76ers are 0-3 without Joel Embiid in the lineup. So how do they get a win without the big man tonight?
You're going to need to see an upped performance from the supporting cast, whether it comes from Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, now that the whole starting unit is back together, well, without Embiid, but the whole unit in general of the rotation. You have the fully healthy bench again with the return of Korkmaz. So hopefully it's no one guy is going to be able to fill the shoes that Embiid has been putting out this season with his MVP type performances. But as a whole, collectively, when you look at guys like Shake Milton, Tyrese Maxey, Furkan Korkmaz, Seth Curry, it can be done. It's going to take a collective effort, but it's what it's going to take.
Now, that collective effort you mentioned, I think part of that has to go to the guy who's been a hot topic for all of us in recent weeks. I did a little research for you, Kevin. So since the James Harden trade, Ben Simmons is averaging 13.4 points per game, 2 steals per game, 9.4 assists, and he's shooting 73.5% field goal percentage. So it's all above his regular season averages. So one could argue that since the James Harden trade happened, Ben Simmons actually has picked up his play.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal as of late. Even in that last Detroit game where he had arguably his best game of the season, I think the past 5 quarters we've seen from Ben Simmons has arguably been his best stretch of the entire year. But in terms of, I guess the irony of it coming right after the Harden trade, it could be one of 2 things. Maybe just hearing all those rumors swirl got in his head a little bit, and it affected his play on the court. And then on the other hand, maybe after being assured that he's going to be here and he's a piece moving forward for this franchise, that it gave him a little bit of a confidence boost. And now that he knows that the Harden trade's over and done with, he can put it behind him, and now he can just get back to focusing on playing basketball, and it's showed in his play.
Yeah, and tonight, you're going to have an opportunity for him to really step up even more, because without Embiid, that's that's not just your leading scorer, but that's your primary guy for the offense. So do you think we're going to see potentially a high output of scoring from Ben, or does he stick to, the distribution and only scoring when he need him to?
I would say in a situation like this, you would like to see him assert himself more as a scorer than a facilitator. Obviously, you're still going to need him to orchestrate the offense because that is his primary job out there. But if he can continue to assert himself on offense, similar to the way he did in the first game, where he came right out from the get-go, asserted himself in the post, and then kind of worked his way back out and getting the guys around him going, I think that could be enough. If they're going to want to win this game, you're going to need to see Ben Simmons go for, back in that 17 to 20 point range.
Kevin McCormick joining us here on the Boardwalk Kind of Hotline on 97.3 ESPN. You can follow him on Twitter at Kevin MCC973. Also, you can see him right now as we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN with his multiple Phillies jerseys over his right shoulder, which would be your left on the screen there. Kevin, let's also touch on the rest of the team. Obviously, it's been an interesting last few days. What were your takeaways from the first Pistons game and then the Celtics game? Because those games were back-to-back games, so it's very hard in the NBA to win back-to-back games, especially when one's on the road and one's at home. So what were some of your takeaways from what you've seen from the Sixers for those two games?
I think there's been a couple takeaways. Obviously, the biggest one is it's great to see them have a back-to-back series against Boston and be able to pull out both games. Even though Boston was still without Tatum, that's a matchup where both teams are going to play each other hard no matter what. So the fact that Brad Stevens had the chance to adjust to the Sixers and they were still able to go out and finish out that second game with the victory was a big takeaway. And then looking at that first Pistons game, the biggest thing for me was seeing all three stars dominate together. Very rarely do you see a game where Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons dominate together, but you saw that in that Pistons game on Saturday. I forgot my days mixed up. And you needed it in a game like that as well because it was a very rough game for the second unit. Arguably the first rough game we've seen from that unit all season. I believe when there was about 4 minutes left in the third quarter, they only had about 5 bench points. So that was a game where you really needed to rely on your guys like Harris, Embiid, Simmons, and they stepped up. We saw Simmons go for 20, Embiid put on another 30-10 performance, and more from Tobias Harris. So seeing them continue to look like a legitimate big three was a major takeaway for me in that win against the Pistons.
Now, you mentioned a legitimate big three. One of the things you and I talked about on Friday's show that I wanted to kind of get a little further down the road with is, we need these guys to all fulfill their roles. And nobody's saying that they're any of those guys. But when you have a big three, when you have three high-level players, you need them all to play like those high-level players. If Durant and Kyrie and James Harden don't all play like we know they can, there's no way the Nets are going to go to the NBA Finals. But the same with the Sixers. If Embiid and Simmons and Harris can't play up to their potential, then they're not going anywhere either. So as of this moment, I know it's only been a handful of games. We're at what, 16 games at this point. So the Sixers, what have you seen from them that tells you this is a legitimate big three or not a legitimate big three?
I would say their success on the court would be the biggest thing that makes them look like a legitimate big three. As of now, the Sixers are 9-0 when all 5 starters play. And although you can say, part of that goes to what Seth Curry brings, it mainly speaks volumes to the play of the star players. I mean, we're talking about Joel Embiid arguably being a front runner for the MVP award early on this year. Tobias Harris is in the mix for all-star considerations if they do end up having it. He's broken that 50-40-90 mark. I believe he's shooting a career high from 3 right now at around 44%. And like we were just talking earlier at the top, Ben Simmons is finally starting to hit his stride with this team, averaging about 13-9-9 over his last 5 games, shooting over 70% from the line in that stretch as well. So seeing them operate on both ends of the floor and them being able to just take care of business on a nightly basis is really starting to show how the three of them are starting to come together.
Who is the guy of those three that if you took out for the rest of the season would hurt the team the most? And I know everyone's going to say Embiid, but I'm not going to say those three. It's Simmons, it's Harris, and it's Curry, though, is the other three I'm thinking about. Because Seth Curry, you could argue, is having not just a career year, but Seth Curry is arguably the best shooter in the NBA right now. So we know about Embiid, but we know he's part of the main big three. but the other three around Embiid are just as important. So if you're without either Simmons, Harris, or Curry, which one has the greatest negative impact on this team?
I would have to say you're hurt the most without Simmons. I mean, and last year's playoff experience is a clear factor in that. Look at how easy the Boston Stars were able to just come down the court and get some easy buckets without the defensive Ben Simmons. And I think it's the two-way ability of Ben Simmons that gives him the biggest impact out of those three. Yes, Seth Curry has been shooting the lights out from deep, but with the attention that Joel Embiid's drawing, I mean, arguably you can't find another shooter who's going to shoot at the clip of Seth Curry, but you could go and find more shooters who are going to be able to shoot a decent clip when they're out there with Joel Embiid, when they can space the floor properly. Harris, I feel, is an interesting choice in that debate just because of what he's brought in terms of that legitimate second option behind Joel Embiid. But with the way Ben Simmons defends arguably all five positions, the way he can orchestrate the offense and just kind of be that solidified guy to make the players around him better, but also lock up the opposing team's best player, he would leave the biggest impact if gone.
Kevin McCormick joining us here on GameNight on 97.3 ESPN. Follow me at Kevin MCC 973. Sixers versus Pistons tonight on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. here on the radio. Of course, you can watch the show right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and listen to us also on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. Kevin, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I think that people cannot overlook the fact that they have a huge marquee matchup on Wednesday night. Obviously, that's the big star attraction for the week. It's LeBron and the Lakers, the NBA champs coming into Philadelphia, and you will be in the house. So what are some of the things that people can look forward to with that game? Because I'm assuming part of the reason why you're sitting Embiid tonight is for him to play on Wednesday night.
There's a lot of things to look at, and like you said, I completely agree in the sense of you're getting Embiid off his feet early because he's going to have a very tough matchup on Wednesday. A lot of times when I've come on and I've talked to you about how Joel Embiid has pretty much dominated every matchup that's put in front of him, but when you look at that Lakers lineup, that is a very interesting one in terms of the very few teams that might have the size to potentially slow down Joel Embiid. We've seen what Marc Gasol has been able to do defending Joel Embiid in the past. Yes, you can say he's years older, but he's still an experienced veteran big man who knows what he's doing against a guy like Joel. Not to mention, if the Lakers were to bring a double team, that second guy is Anthony Davis, who is another perennial defensive player of the year candidate in his own right. So having to deal with those two front court players should be a tough task for Embiid, let alone what LeBron James is doing all out there. But in terms of what I'm looking for, I think it's just going to be a slugfest. I mean, you're looking at two high-powered teams who are playing great basketball right now. The Lakers have been playing really great, leading the West in their own right. So just seeing all those star-studded matchups, whether it's Embiid and AD, Ben Simmons, LeBron James, the bench battle, it's going to be one of those, whoever can win those little fights in the trenches can be the team that pulls out the victory that night.
And I'm not saying this to overlook the Pistons tonight, but obviously anytime you have a game of that kind of marquee, you can't ignore it, especially with Embiid being held out tonight. And so the other thing I want to know about the game is, we saw, he didn't do it the whole game, but Simmons did guard at times Jeremy Grant on Saturday. Do you expect him to continue to do that tonight? And then does that translate to him possibly guarding LeBron James the most of the night on Wednesday? Or do you think the Sixers kind of go with the rotating bodies thing like they did with Jaylen Brown with the Celtics?
In terms of Wednesday, I would have to say Simmons is going to be the primary defender for LeBron James, just because it's one of those, when you look at that matchup, Frank Vogel isn't going to let Joel Embiid beat him. And I feel like Doc Rivers on that same end isn't going to let LeBron James beat the Sixers that night. So Ben Simmons is your best defender. He's your biggest body on the perimeter. If anybody's going to keep up with LeBron James, it's going to be Ben Simmons. So I would say he will most likely spend almost all of his time on LeBron James that night. And I think the same goes with Jeremy Grant tonight, just because with the injury woes that the Pistons have as well, with no Blake Griffin, no Derrick Rose, Jeremy Grant's really been the guy leading that offense. And seeing what Simmons did against him on Saturday, holding him to just 11 points on very poor shooting, I think you're going to need to continue to slow him down if you want to keep yourself in this game with no Embiid.
Two more for you, Kevin. I always appreciate you jumping on here on GameNight on 97.3 ESPN. So if the Sixers win tonight, which I think people still expect them to win, even though it won't be as, probably definitive, as most people would believe, they win because why?
Hard-nosed defense, I would have to say. Just because with no Embiid, you're losing all of that scoring. If you're going to hang your hat tonight and come away with the victory, it's going to have to be on the defensive end and slowing them down. And this might be another grueling game. I mean, the Pistons played them very hard on Saturday. They were a very competitive team that shocked me in their own right for being a 3-win team. They played very hard. So if you're going to want to keep yourself in a position to win tonight, you're going to have to continue to defend hard, hit your free throws, take care of the basketball.
All right. My final thing I got for you is this. I saw your tweet earlier today, and I was going to tweet at you, but I realized that at the time I saw your tweet 5 hours ago that I didn't have a good enough answer for you, because how could I criticize for you for making a choice of something without making a choice myself of that? So you claim on Twitter that the best uniform in MLB history is the Phillies powder blue, and it isn't even a debate. That is what you said on Twitter. Now, the reason why I have an issue with this is because I think the Phillies powder blue is overrated.
Oh, come on, Josh. Don't do this to me.
I prefer the Phillies pinstripe to the powder blue. I think the powder blue is very 70s, 80s feeling, and it's a part of the past more so than it is an actual good look. To me, the greatest baseball uniform of all time is the Oakland A's, because the green and the yellow is an amazing contrast, and people forget that the uniform looks like that because the A's used to be the Philadelphia Athletics. So technically, it's a Philadelphia uniform that's been adopted by another city. So I go with the Athletics uniform, and you're going with the powder blue.
Yeah, I will always defend that powder blue. I don't know. It's just one of those things. There's just something about it. I enjoy the nostalgia of it. Obviously, it was way before my time when they rocked those jerseys. But yeah, the jersey's just so clean. I think it's such a great color pattern together. It's just, they always look great. Hard to bet against them.
Look, the maroon P is a solid color look. But for me, if it's the Phillies uniform, I like the Phillies pinstripe. I think it looks clean. I think it looks sharp. And if I got to go with the all-time baseball uniform, give me the green and the yellow of the A's, because I for some reason, I feel like that color just feels like special, like baseball look. Like I feel like there's baseball uniforms and then there's the A's green and yellow, but that's just me.
I could agree to that. I think there definitely is that baseball feel to it. Another jersey I think that is severely underrated is the zipper jersey that they pulled out 2 years ago that they only wore once. Everyone torched them on Twitter, but I was kind of in the minority there. I enjoy them. I think they also have a nice kind of different feel to them. I think just the zipper aspect itself, given that kind of quarter zip vibe to it. But all in all, if I will die on the hill of that powder blue jersey.
I think you're better off with the powder blue jersey than you are with the zipper look, because the problem with the zipper look is it doesn't even look like a baseball uniform. It looked more like a dude at the local softball game in the beer league than it did an actual baseball and Major League Baseball uniform. Now, the one thing I will say is a very good look that gets overlooked with Phillies history was back when it started in 94, the blue hats with the red P. I feel like we don't get that brought back enough. I feel like we got that back a couple times during the Utley years, but not enough in recent years. I would like to see that get a little more rotation personally.
Wait, you talking about the baby blue with the maroon P?
No, it's like a cobalt blue.
Oh, the dark blue with the red P. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's not like super dark, but it's got the sharp contrast blue.
Yeah,
it's almost like a stronger version of the Facebook blue.
Yeah, that's what they would wear when they wore the cream jerseys, right? It was like that alternate hat.
I don't care about the cream jersey. I just like the hat. That's just a personal preference of mine.
In terms of hats, I think it's so basic to say, but just the all red with the white P, it all fits so perfectly, and just I don't know, the white P looks so nice on the red hat. If I'm going hat, I think I would have to say just their generic hat.
Yeah, the only Phillies hat I have is actually a black Phillies hat with a red P on it. So I don't even remember where I got it from. I think a family member of mine got it from me. So it's like the most random thing in the world. I think it's like it might be the only one in existence, but I've never seen the Phillies wear a black hat, but apparently I have it, and it's an official Major League Baseball hat. So there you go.
Hey, it could be this lost artifact. You could be holding on to something great there.
I could be, and I've probably worn it about 200 times, so it's probably depreciated the value by about like $3,000 or whatever it is. He's Kevin McCormick. You can follow him on Twitter for all your NBA and Sixers analysis at Kevin MCC 973, and as all guests, he appeared on the Boardwalk kind of hotline. Kevin, always appreciate the time, and I appreciate you humoring me about the baseball stuff.
Anytime, Josh. You take care.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget my FanDuel sports pick for the night coming up in just roughly about 9 to 10 minutes from now. Of course, you can jump on the text board at 609-403-0973. Also, we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 97.3 ESPN. And watch Game Night here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig live in the Matt Black Kia studios. Of course, don't forget the 97.3 ESPN mobile app. It's free thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle City.
It's Sixers basketball tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Here's a long shot by Shake. It's gone again. Shake Milton is on fire. Whoa.
The Sixers are in Detroit to face the Pistons.
Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
Start the new year in a new Kia at Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River or Egg Harbor Township today. The new year is an opportunity to set new goals and start fresh. And at Matt Blatt Kia, our goal is to get you out of that old car you hate. Come in today or visit us online and get the credit you deserve this new year. 0% APR financing available for up to 75 months on new 2021 Kia Sportage LX SUVs in stock. Plus, Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River and Egg Harbor Township wants your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Plus, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia.
Offers with approved Tier 1 or 2 credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. 0% based on 1516 per 1,000 borrowed. Go to mattblackkianj.com for complete details. Expires 2/4/2021. Matt Black Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Interest rates are at an all-time low, making this the perfect time to buy a home or save money by refinancing your mortgage. South Jersey Federal Credit Union offers great rates, local decisions, and now through March 31st, a credit of up to $1,000 towards closing costs on qualifying mortgages. Visit southjerseyfcu.com. Call 1-800-582-7640 or visit a branch for information. Must apply by March 31st, 2021. Subject to qualifications and approval. Owner-occupied residences only. Other restrictions apply. Equal housing lender.
Are you one of the millions of Americans who experience occasional bloating, gas, or abdominal discomfort? Join the Align Healthy Gut Team Up and see how healthy your gut can feel. Align contains a quality probiotic strain developed by gastroenterologists. It adds more good bacteria to your gut to naturally help soothe your occasional digestive upsets with continued daily usage. This is the time to join the Align Healthy Gut Team Up from the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic brand. Sign up at alignprobiotics.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Well, as the world's blandest man, the idea of insurance made for me is almost riveting.
Big fan of beige?
I find other neutrals too unpredictable.
That's cool. Liberty Mutual's just here to protect your home with customized insurance.
And here we've got my doorstop collection.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
When you support your local small businesses, it helps keep your neighbors employed, helps kids save for college, and strengthens your community. And Town Square Media South Jersey puts local businesses in the spotlight.
First Bank of Sea Isle City, Cape County's community bank.
Dr. Lyle M. Back for everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery. Go to ilovelylback.com.
Egg Harbor Independent Branch Leader at Charles Schwab in the Consumer Square Shopping Plaza.
Filling Marble and Tile Outlet, Philadelphia Avenue and Route 30 in Egg Harbor City. Visit fillingmarble.com.
Intuitive Women's Health in Summers Point, accepting new patients. Schedule an appointment today online at intuitivewomenshealth.net.
East Coast Roofing, Siding and Windows services all of South Jersey. If you call, they'll show up. Call East Coast today at 609-646-1444. Online at eastcoastroofing.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses. From Town Square Media, South Jersey.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, 97.3 ESPN mobile app, and Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Of course, you can follow the show, watch us live each and every day, the Sports Patch with Mike Gill and Hunter Brody, and Game Night here on 97.3 ESPN. I'll give you my picks for the night, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook in just a moment. I want to remind you, of course, no Joel Embiid tonight, so that means that it's going to be Dwight Howard in your starting lineup for your Philadelphia 76ers. Your full lineup looks like this. It's for the Philadelphia 76ers, Dwight Howard in the middle, along with Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Tobias Harris, and Danny Green. So the only change to be made is no Joel Embiid, and he will be on the bench, which is why I am saying for my DFS pick of the night, go Dwight Howard. This guy has been a rebounding monster this year. And I know a lot of those DFS and fantasy sports apps and platforms, rebounding is one of those things that gets you a lot of value, but nobody really talks about it. And if you look at Dwight Howard this year, he doesn't score a lot of points. He's not really out there trying to score. But listen to this. You know how many games he has had with double-digit rebounds? He has had 8 games with double-digit rebounds. Right now, on the FanDuel Sportsbook app, it's over-under is 10.5. So I'm saying Dwight Howard, my DFS, and I like that over 10.5. I'll also give you my my FanDuel Sportsbook pick of the night in just a moment. But I want to remind you that FanDuel Sportsbook has something else great with basketball this year. And so the next time you're watching basketball, I've got a perfect way for you to get on the action for free. That's right. Absolutely free with FanDuel. I'm talking about NBA in-play. It's absolutely free to play on the FanDuel app. And it features all the in-game fun of live betting. NBA in-play turns every quarter of every game into a free contest where you go win real cash prizes. So while you're watching the game, all you have to do is predict the outcome of the plays and game props before they happen to claim your share of the prize pool. And best of all, a new contest starts every quarter of every game, giving you even more ways to win. With FanDuel is the exclusive home of NBA in-play. So the action is always available right at your fingertips on the FanDuel app. So maybe you don't want to get involved in FanDuel Sportsbook tonight. You can get involved in NBA in-play with the FanDuel app. Don't miss your shot. Get in the game and download the FanDuel app to start playing NBA in-play today. And while you're watching that Sixers game tonight, it might be up to you for NBA in-play, because with Dwight Howard going for all those rebounds, you have an opportunity to get involved on NBA in-play with the FanDuel app. Also, think about this. With no Joel Embiid out there, someone to pick up the scoring slack. Is that Ben Simmons? Is it Shake Milton? Does Shake Milton go for 20 points tonight? Does Seth Curry go for 20 points tonight? How many more points does Tobias Harris score? And don't forget, the Pistons are not a walkover. They had trouble with them the other night. So NBA in-play is a way for you to get in on the action and not have to put any money on the line up front for you to win with FanDuel's app. Now, my FanDuel Sportsbook pick of the night is actually another game. It's the Denver Nuggets at the Mavericks over 223. These are two teams that really they just can't stop anybody. Let's be realistic. Both these teams are allowing over 109 points per game. We saw that I think the Nuggets are tired. They went to overtime 2 straight games with the Suns, and the Mavs, they still don't have Dorian Finney-Smith or Max Kleber, so you know that they don't really have their defensive guys out there. So what does that mean? I expect there to be points scored, and because these are two teams that don't have a ton of great defense out there, I love the Tim Hardaway over 16.5. He's scoring on the year over 17 points per game. He has scored over 16 points 9 out of 13 games this year as Tim Hardaway Jr. So with FanDuel Sportsbook, you have the same game in-game parlay. It is plus 219 right now for the Nuggets and Mavs over 223 combined with the Tim Hardaway 16.5 points. And you can do that all with FanDuel Sportsbook. Must be 21 or to play. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be an NJ or PA to participate with FanDuel Sportsbook. Again, I got over 223 in the over-under on the Nuggets Mavs. I got the over 16.5 on the Tim Hardaway points and the over 10.5 on the Dwight Howard rebounds. Those are some picks for you on the evening. Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN here on GameNight. Of course, text board is open at 609-403-0973 to get on the conversation before we get out of here. Also, when you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, you can comment on the stream, and we will get you up on the board here on the video feed. I can't overlook the wild weekend as well, not just for football because we have a great Super Bowl matchup, but also UFC 257. You all know how much of a diehard UFC fan I am, and I'll admit I didn't expect Conor McGregor to lose in that fashion. I thought this was going to be a much deeper fight, but Dustin Poirier did two things on Saturday night that really stood out to me. I'll get to the pick I did get right because I did give you a gambling pick that did scored big on Saturday night. But before we get to that, McGregor, he got suckered into a brawl. Dustin Poirier is a slugger. He is a guy who wants to slug, and McGregor, for whatever reason, thought it would be a good idea to just go blow for blow with him and take his shots like it was nothing. And as soon as he got that takedown, did Poirier, you knew that McGregor was in trouble because McGregor wasn't expecting it. Now, McGregor got out of it pretty quickly. He didn't stay down at all. So you got to give McGregor credit for that. But, man, Poirier was really hitting him a couple times with some really solid shots. And it was like McGregor wasn't taking him seriously. And that got McGregor out of his game plan, out of his boxing, because he's a boxer by nature. McGregor is not a pure mixed martial artist like guys like Poirier are. He is a guy who has a great boxing background, who can also be a kickboxer and can knock people out. He's got knockout power and he's got excellent speed, but he's not a brawler. He's not a grinder. He's not a guy who mucks it up very well. He's got the great shoulder strike, but he doesn't have great muck it up boxing and fighting skills. And as a result, that's a big part of the reason why Poirier was able to just clock him several times before he finally went down and finished the fight. I think Poirier needs to be in line to get the title. I think this whole idea of Khabib holding the division for ransom, I think is absolutely a joke. The guy retired. The guy said he's done. Why is the guy still labeled the lightweight champion? It's disgusting. I think it's an insult to all these fighters. Listen, the only person that Gaethje has lost to recently was Khabib. Let Gaethje fight Poirier, or let Poirier run it back with McGregor, or get Charles Oliveira involved. Get Poirier a fight for the belt, all right? Tell Khabib he's either got to come back by, I don't know, July 4th, or he has to vacate the belt, or something sooner, because he shouldn't be listed as a lightweight champion. He said he was retired. He said he's done. He said he's not coming back. So if that's the case, let these guys fight. Let these guys go out there and fight for the belt. I think it's an absolute joke and an embarrassment that they're not letting this belt be available. Poirier is the interim champion. Gaethje is an interim champion. Let them fight, or let Poirier fight Oliveira or something. Get it done. Get it done, UFC. And by the way, I told you all that Michael Chandler was going to beat Dan Hooker. He was an underdog. He beat Hooker. He blasted him. Why is it that on Monday, January 25th, the Michael Chandler is not ranked yet on the UFC rankings, their official rankings? He is not ranked. That's an embarrassment. UFC, I don't care that you were in Abu Dhabi. Wake up. Let's go. These guys are fighting their tails off, and you're still giving Khabib reverence because he's Khabib. Let's just stop. We got a message over here. Paul, watching on Facebook, says, Josh, I am stoked for the Super Bowl matchup. It's not every day that we get to see LeBron versus Jordan, Brady versus Mahomes. It's got me most psyched for Super Bowl since the Eagles won it last. Hey, Paul, listen, we're going to get to see a huge, huge game. I'm excited for it. I'm excited that you're excited. Listen, man, this is going to be a game that goes down for the ages, in my opinion. I think that these coaches are going to have these guys so prepared. We're going to see a shootout, I believe, between Brady and Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Of course, you hear Super Bowl right here on 97.3 ESPN. Thanks, Kevin McCormick, for joining the show. Sixers and Pistons coming up next on 97.3 ESPN.
Tonight on Compass Media Network's coverage of college basketball, we're in Morgantown for Texas Tech against West Virginia. Mac McClung and the Red Raiders gun for a Big 12 road win against Derek Culver and the Mountaineers. Texas Tech, West Virginia. If it's college basketball, it's right here.
The college basketball season continues tonight, only on 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins after Sixers basketball.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff. Learn more, live better.
Do you really look at the nutrition label, or do you just dig right into what you're eating? The Nutrition Facts label was created to give us insight into what's in our foods, from how much sugar and fiber is in a box of cereal to how much fat is in a package of almonds. Knowing this information can help us compare products, track nutrients, ensure we're getting enough vitamins and minerals, and not getting too much of what we shouldn't be eating. We can see if we need more or less of a particular nutrient, and reading the label can even help us manage certain chronic conditions. So whether you're a little unclear on how to read the Nutrition Facts label, or you just want to understand why it's useful in making the best nutrition decisions, we've got 4 dietitian-approved answers to the most common questions about nutrition labels. Check it out on our website. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff, empowering you to live a healthier life.
On some models, excludes Corvette with GMF financing, excludes fire sale. See dealer for details.
Start the new year in a new Chevy at Bennett Chevy. Come see all the hot new 2021s and get our famous unbeatable Bennett deal. GM supplier employee pricing, plus you keep all the rebates. And right now, that could be up to 25% off MSRP. Yes, up to 25% off. Shop all you want, but there's just no beating Bennett. Looking for pre-owned? Bennett will pay you a minimum $7,000 for your trade towards any pre-owned in stock. That's at least $7,000, regardless of how or even if your old car runs. Imagine how much you'll get for a good trade. And you will absolutely love dealing with Bennett. There's no games, no gimmicks, just real deals and no need to negotiate, because our non-commissioned sales team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Find new roads and start the new year in a new Chevy at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
A message from your neighbors and friends at First Bank. We've been serving residents and businesses of Sea Isle City and the surrounding communities for more than 130 years. Today's challenges, while unique, are another opportunity to show our strength and resilience. Our commitment to you remains strong. Whether it's using our drive-through services, bank by phone, the First Bank mobile app, or online banking, we're staying strong with you. Be safe and be secure. First Bank, here for you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you crave the thrill of success and all the opportunities that come with it? Are you an ambitious professional who seeks an exciting career opportunity with unlimited earning potential? Are your achievements most rewarding when they also benefit others?
If so, then you may have what it takes to join South Jersey's leading radio and online marketing sales team at Town Square Media. Discover your passion for advertising sales and earn a guaranteed salary while you learn. Leverage newfound skills in integrated marketing campaign design and help local businesses recover and grow in the coming year.
With commission gains and hands-on training, your income grows right alongside your skill set, so you'll never be making less than what you're worth.
Call Michael Rubel, Market President, at 609-910-5249 to schedule an interview. Kick off a challenging but fulfilling career in advertising sales with Town Square Media, Atlantic City. Positions are competitive and won't be available long. Call 609-910-5249. Town Square Media is an equal opportunity employer.
The radio home of the 76ers.
Oh, boy, what a move by Embiid.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ-HD, Millville, Atlantic City.
Sixers basketball. Here they come.
No, Ben Simmons with a twin jam. Look out for them. Joel Embiid.